Hey all, and welcome to my vlog. My name is Erin, and this is World Building 2.0 Magic. One of my viewers was asking where Iggy was, because he hasn't been in a video for a really long time, but here he is. Being a very good boy in his cubby. We'll see if he stays. I've covered this topic pretty in depth in other videos, so this is mostly just the bits and pieces that I've thought about since then. I will link all the relevant videos in the description below so you can check them out if you have not already. Magic is pretty much one of the biggest perks of writing fantasy, and a lot of the things we're going to be talking about will be dependent on how you've set up your magic system, so if you have not started that yet, now would be a good time to do so. Number 1. Cultural effects. If magic exists in your world, you'll want to know how deeply it affects your world. Do people who wield magic get special privileges over the average person? In a lot of stories, I have seen magic users elevated to the ruling class. The alternative being that magic is persecuted and outlawed, so they are not so much the rulers. If magic is embraced, how does it influence technology and medicine and transport and all these other aspects of society? If you have the ability to transport people and objects, then suddenly it becomes a lot easier to travel or acquire goods from other lands, or transport armies. What could be done in your world with the magic that's available to it? Think of the big and think of the small. How it influences your world will depend a lot on how you have it set up. Obviously, if magic is able to be wielded freely and it doesn't have any negative impacts on the user, then you have a lot more flexibility. Magic could be used to better the world, but in so many stories, it's just not. Like, sure, we could make our lives better, we could make our society fully accessible, we could solve all these issues, but how about we do nothing instead and reject all the benefits of our magic? Number 2, technology and production. One of the ways that some writers will force lower technology levels on people is saying that magic and technology are not compatible. What level of tech is compatible? How is it affected? Are certain levels affected more than others? If magic does not have an influence on technology and your story is set in the modern world, maybe rethink having your people live in a quasi-medieval setting just for the aesthetic. I mean, I love old-timey aesthetic as much as the next person, but I also love electricity and running water and the internet. How does magic influence the production of goods and the performance of services? Can items be magicked into existence? Does magic devalue things? What I mean by this is we often attach more value to things that are handmade versus machine-made. Would your society have a similar type of stigma against things that are made by magic versus by hand? Would your society consider making things by magic cheating? I read one fantasy romance series where the economy of the island was saved because the magic users decided to make lace and sell it to the continent. It could be made cheaper, it was faster, and it also had less flaws than handmade lace. What would the implications of something like that be? How would it affect people in their industries? Would people who don't have access to magic even be able to keep up? Does magic provide cheap and accessible goods to everyone? And can people just get jobs making random goods with magic? Number 3, deception. Something that pops up in a lot of mythology and stories is someone taking the form of another with magic. You see it with Zeus taking the form of Alcmene's husband, and Uther Pendragon taking the form of Igraine's husband to get with women who wanted nothing to do with them because they loved their husbands. I've seen it in books, I've seen it in TV shows, I've seen it in movies. And while the deception is acknowledged, what is not is that the fact that any sexual encounters that are happening during that is rape. Those people think that they're consenting to a loved one, not whoever has stolen their form. And it drives me absolutely bonkers when the deception is acknowledged and the rape is not. If you're going to be having magical deception show up in your stories, I would super appreciate if you didn't make your characters rapists. I would also very much prefer if you did not then marry said rapists to their victims. Number 4, religion. How does magic factor into the religious views of your world? Is magic seen as a gift from a deity? Do people with magic run the religious institutions, or are they seen as evil by the reigning religion? Does religion influence the use of magic? Like, sure, maybe you could raise the dead, but the religious community might lose their shit. If religion revolves around magic, how do you account for non-believers? It's hard to not believe something that is regularly proven to be true, so maybe in that case they could be skeptical of the origin of magic, or the nature of divinity when it comes to magic. Number 5, social attitudes and characters. What is the societal view of magic and magic users? Do people revere them, worship them, fear them? Do any of your characters wield magic? What is their personal view of magic? And what is their view of the specific type that they wield? Do the views change based on the type of magic involved? If your characters are not magical, do they wish they were? Alright, so that is all I've got to say about magic and fantasy world building, but you know what else is magical? Helping kids! If you haven't already heard, Jenna Moresi and her fiancé Cliff are running a fundraiser with Project Keep over on her website. Project Keep helps children in foster care get access to backpacks that are filled with emergency essential supplies, comfort items, school supplies, toiletries, etc. If you donate money and new or unused supplies and backpacks, you can be entered into a giveaway to win some awesome prizes, including signed copies of both my books. I will link all the details to that below so you can help some kids have an easier time. The drive is running until August 31st, 2019, and if you are not personally able to donate, you can help out by sharing this drive with your friends. So that is all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you'd like to be notified as soon as I upload, then ring that bell. All my social media links will be in the description below. Both of my books, Olympian Confessions, Hades and Persephone, and Olympian Confessions, Hera, are available now in ebook and paperback. If you would like your manuscript critiqued by me, you can check out my critique service. Links to all of those will be on my website below. If you enjoyed my content, consider being part of my Patreon family, and I will see you all next week with another video. Bye! Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you good? I'm so sorry. That was not a graceful transport. Are you good? You good?